I don't know. Seeing the results of the race, I was kind of like, I think the athletes weren't treating it the way the fans and even the meet organizers were hoping it would be treated. And it's not the athletes' fault because their contracts are told don't treat January races like they're all out for
Yeah,
don't
yeah, yeah,
treat January
yeah.
races like Super Bowls. Treat
It
two
has
races like a Super Bowl, USA's and Worlds.
it has a prestigious title, USA Cross Country Championships, but it could be just named Cross Country Meet Number 1,
Yeah.
and it's just an
USATF
opportunity to
invite.
run.
Yeah.
It's just an
Right.
opportunity to run, put on the uniform, compete against other people. I think Molly Seidel captured the sentiment perfectly, and I give her credit for going out there and racing because she says in her Instagram post, "Often we think we can't race until everything is perfect because of what people will say or think if we underperform." I say F it and just go have fun, even if you know the fitness isn't there yet, and you get your ass, is it kicked? I don't know. We need to scroll down a little bit there. Unfortunately, we cut off at the exact wrong time there on the screen. So I think she, I think she nails it here. I think she nails it here. And like I said, I give her credit for racing. Now, she's a marathoner, so her schedule is going to be completely different as is, right? She needs to
Yeah.
be in form 2, maybe 3 times per year. So I give her credit for going out there and racing, and I think she explains a lot of why people don't go out and race. Because if you wait until everything's perfect, you're rarely going to race. And then if you do race and something goes wrong on that one day, then your opportunities are gone. So I give credit to the people who just go out there and continue to do it. And if it's 8th, if it's 10th, if it's 20th, if it's first, then we get to at least see you, know you're out there training, know that you're still putting in the miles and someone to keep an eye on. Because the alternative is you just hide away, run 2 or 3 times a year in perfect conditions, and then that's not much fun in terms of from a fan's perspective following the sport. Um, Go ahead.
But yeah, I mean, this is a problem with our sport because people can put the blame on USATF, and it's not. USATF is doing the right thing. They're creating an event. San
Yeah,
Diego is doing the right thing. They're hosting it. All the fans are doing the right thing by watching it and thinking about it and caring about it. The fans are
yeah,
there. The meet organizers are there. The governing body is there. Now, obviously, it's not that much prize money, but regardless of that,
it's,
I mean, that's a factor. But at the end of the day, even some of the athletes are there, but the athletes are not uh, wound in the way to care about a January race. And it all comes down to, I think it all comes down to the sponsorship contracts because I think that most athletes' sponsorships all geared around things like making world teams and probably world ranking. Uh,
mhm.
like like being ranked in top 10 might be an extra bonus, but at the end of the day, it's really just making world teams.
Yeah,
And if we want to make more races matter, make team sports matter, and all this different things, you got to start to the source. And the source is the incentive of the athlete is to only care about qualifying in a summer event. They're not told to care about
yeah,
anything else. Everything else is practice. And so that's what these athletes are doing. It's fun when Alicia Monson can win, but at the end of the day, Alicia knows if I won or lost, it doesn't matter. I'm all thinking about the June 10K. And I
yeah.
just think it shows that if we really want to fix this sport, you got to get the shoe sponsors to incentivize these athletes to run a full season and not incentivize them to just only care about making a world team and moving on.
Well, it's an uphill battle as is for a regular season race, and then you make it cross country where there's no world championships this year, and it gets really difficult to have all those things that you're talking about align with one another. And $2,000 was the winning prize purse. That's not going to get too many people out there. It would be interesting to see. I know people are investing a lot in series of meets, but it would be interesting to see if instead of investing a bunch in a series, people just threw down a whole bunch of money at one meet. Because you see this happen sometimes in track. particularly in Europe. There'll be a lower tier meet, and all of a sudden, one year, you're like, wait, why is Usain Bolt going there? Why did Usain Bolt show up to this random meet in June to make this his tune up for the Jamaican trials? And then you find out later on the race had deep pockets. So they had crazy good fields. But the money and then qualifying to a world championship or Olympics are the two main things that are going to get people out there. But the world cross country championships, we've seen it, are not enough incentive. Even if there were world cross country championships this year, I think the field would go from, let's say, 4 out of 10 or 3 out of 10 to 5 or 6 out of 10 with the world championships on the line. It would get a little bit better, but we're not going to see everybody there. We've had some pretty good fields. We've had some pretty good teams compete at World Cross Country Championships, but you're always missing a name or two. And then when you take that away, the quality drops even more and the depth drops even more. Because you're right, 30, 40, 50 people in a US championships is it was strange to see. I went back and looked at some other ones. They were all of the past decade. They were under 100, but there was, 70, 80. And they've had good people run this race. Good people win this race. I remember you went one year in Tallahassee. Bowerman showed up that year, but clearly they didn't show up this year. So it's it's not a regular occurrence for people. They don't circle it on the calendar. If it works out to go do a tempo run on a cross country course, then they go and do it. If it doesn't, they don't.
Yeah.
For
Hey.
some, for some. And I don't want to say that's the case for everybody because Monson, Kaladi, Enfeld, they are top flight runners. They're going to be people in
Yeah.
contention for teams. There's a world championship medalist on that list, but beyond that, to get that depth, to get that whole quality, you need more people there. Because on the men's side, I think this might be a significant result for Shadrach Kipchirchir. Now you can say, all right, well, how good was the field? And he wins in a sprint finish, but this is a guy who was hurt last year. So now we watch this race. We know that when he's healthy, he's one of the best 10,000 meter runners in the United States. And now we know at the very least he's back. So this meet can serve that kind of purpose.
Yeah, I mean, Dylan Maggard is a no joke. He can make a top 8 finish in a 10K or 5K, I believe. Obviously,
Yep.
Chilenga has had a wild career where he's retired, then come back, retired and come back, and now he's back getting third at a USA's, which is kind of wild. Career, more of a marathoner. Um, it's still not like 10 deep, but that win for Kipchirchir definitely makes you have to think, all right, um, he could be a wild card top 3 guy in the 10 or the 5. I mean, I say that wild card because Bowerman just has 2 studs right now in Fisher and
Yeah.
Kincaid. So, and then throwing a Paul Chalimo in the 5 and a Cooper Tier who's in the, up and coming guy. It's just going to be a
Yeah.
really hard team to make. His best chance is definitely going to be the 10K. It's one, it's going to be the 10K, and 2, it's going to be hoping maybe one of the Bowerman guys doesn't do it because then another spot opens up, or they're just not on perfectly. And then because 10K anything can happen, you have a bad race, and all of a sudden only one Bowerman guy gets on. But you got to
Mm-hmm.
think Shadrach is in the mix now. He's shown he's healthy. He won a B minus C plus field. Hey, a win's a win though, right? The Eagles,
Yeah. Win.
they are 9-0 against non-playoff teams and 0-8 against playoff teams, and they're going to the playoffs. So it happens. Sometimes you win. You win who you race. You beat who you race.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. I want to give you this list of names. This is who made the 10,000 Olympic team. I want you to tell me, you don't need to tell me who's on, who's off, but how many of these same people were on it. So last year, you had Fisher, you had Kincaid, you had Klecker. And then on the women's side, you had Sisson, Schweizer, Monson. How many of those 6 are going to make the world championship team? Give me a number.
How many of those 6? So Sisson, Schweizer, Monson,
Monson.
and Klecker. Who else? Fisher and Kincaid.
Mm-hmm.
1, 2. I say. I say only 3 make it.
Okay. Lower than I thought.
I would say 4, but I'm gonna go 3. add a little chaos. No, I'll say 4.
Okay.
4 will make it. So we're only replacing 2 of them. I won't say who those 2 are, but you know who you are. You know who I'm thinking.
there's a lot of there's a lot of prime people in there, which is why I think it's
Yeah.
an interesting question because there's a lot of people who are doing their best running right now. So to get supplanted, something's going to have to change. But you have such a small sample size in the 10,000. And remember, the 10,000 trials are before the rest of the US championships this year. So they have a smaller window to get ready. It's still May, so we're still several months away, but that'll be the first um, running event where we know who's on the team. So just want to pay attention to that because we're not going to see what we're going to see them run 10,000 before that. Maybe
If
that.
that, if even. Yeah.
Yeah.
Those are
They might
probably all
even debut.
qualifying with they're all qualifying with their marks from basically the summer probably.
Yeah. Maybe some Peyton. Maybe run one at Peyton just to get the feel of 25 laps again. That'll be interesting to see how many people debut with a trip to the World Championships on the line. It's just always an interesting phenomenon.
Yeah, that's a good point. Well, they're definitely gonna be running 10,000 meters at practice. We're just not going to see it. You know.
Exactly. I'd hope. I'd hope they cover that distance before it's time to run for World Championship teams. Okay, that's US